Welcome back, disc golf fans, to round 4 of the 2023 Pdga Professional Disc Golf World Championships presented by LL Bean. We're back at the Fox Run course again for this 4th round. I'm Nathan Queen, again joined by Andrew Fish.
I think we're at the stage of this tournament where you can start taking standings pretty seriously. This chase card obviously has a lot to prove, with only 2 rounds to go before a world champion is crowned here. Anthony Barela sitting in 3rd place at 24 under. Lehtinen not far behind. Alden Harris and Gannon Buhr 22 under, tied for 7th place.
It should be a fun round. There you see our leaderboard. Lead card not too far out in front, and then down to the top 20 not too far behind, all sitting close to that 20 under par mark. Getting straight into these bag checks. Anthony Barela putting with the CT Jawbreaker Focus. See some zones, Zono S's and that Luna a lot, along with the Buzz, Raptor, Force, and Nuke. Getting into Lori's bag. Gonna be putting with the Hope. See some Harp and Savior as well. See some Anchor and Justice. Probably Explorer, the Audi for some of these headwinds.
Alden Harris, sponsored by Prodigy. We've seen him a couple times this year, putting with the 300 PA3. A couple throwing putters in there, as well as the A3 and A2 for approaches. M4 and M1 are his workhorse mid-ranges, an FX4, FX2, and a couple different drivers. Gannon Buhr, we'll see how he attacks this more open course than the Brewster Ridge we saw yesterday. 300 firm PA3 is his putter. Throws the A2, M4, and M2. And probably some D1s, D2s, D3s for the big shots.
And into hole 1, 565-foot par 4. One of the holes you'd really like to get, unless the winds get super swirly on you off of the tee. Pretty attackable to get to that white birch right in the middle of the fairway. About 250 feet to the pin from there.
First on the tee today, coming to us from Mesa, Arizona. He's representing Discraft. Let's make some noise for Anthony Barela.
And Anthony Barela continuing a fantastic season. Sitting on this chase card, round 3 and round 4.
Yeah, tied for 3rd both times. So just missing out on making that lead card.
And relatively flat release pops up for a moment, and then skirting past that birch tree, he's going to be inside 200 to the bucket.
Next in the box, from Lahti, Finland, he's representing latitude 64. Can we please welcome Lehtinen?
And Lehtinen, we haven't seen a whole lot of him on the tour in the U.S. in 2023, but he has made a couple visits in the past. Obviously an excellent player, and made a huge jump in round 3 to get onto this chase card.
Yeah, swings this one out pretty wide and catches some of that swirling winds. Going to end up finding the out of bounds.
Joining us next from Woodstock, Georgia, he's representing Prodigy Discs. Let's hear it for Alden Harris.
Alden Harris disguised as a volunteer in that blue shirt. Looks like his disc of choice here is a mid-range. I like the idea. The hole's only 565, so even if you only bite off half of it, it's basically the same shot in.
And completing this foursome, from Urbandale, Iowa, also representing Team Prodigy, let's give it up for Gannon Buhr.
And Gannon try to blend in with the sunset rather than the volunteers here. Yeah, like you mentioned, we got to watch him play that Brewster Ridge course yesterday. Hopefully he can get off to a good start here on Fox Run.
Yeah, it was a little sluggish, and then he was able to battle back to, I believe, 6 down in the 3rd round. Slight Anheuser release, a little bit of drift, and then up there in the same territory as Anthony Barela. That should leave a pretty easy chip forehand end for Mr. Buhr.
Yeah, very smooth tee shot there. Lowry going to be left with probably 290 to 300 plus here.
I think more. I think he's taken relief back to give himself a better angle. Alas does hit a middle tree.
Yeah, had to hit a fairly tight gap and very close to the OB again. This one's leaking a little left on Alden and is just going to catch that sticky grass in time to stay in bounds. Going to be inside circle, right around circle's edge.
Again, a pretty pinched angle for Lehtinen. To the forehand. And with a pretty favorable roll out to about 18 feet or so. That'll be his putt for 5. Buhr playing with stability and very well done.
Yeah, that's the way you want to start your round, especially on this type of hole before you get to some much more dangerous territory. Easy birdies here on hole 1's the way to do it. And Anthony Barela going to follow that up. Say I can put it just a little bit closer.
Yeah, very nearly Control C, Control V for those two. And Harris going to chain out, unable to convert on his first birdie op.
And that one caught a lot of chains, but it was just a little bit left side for how high it hit. And that's going to be an unfortunate start for Lauri Lehtinen, a double bogey.
Yeah, a couple mistakes stacked up on him there. Hole 2, by far the shortest hole on this entire track. Pretty narrow set of stacked gaps. This rock is near 75 feet or so. If you clear that with a touch of speed, get down to a relatively flat green, although there is out of bounds left, right, and long of this basket. Likely to see putter speed disc with a little bit of drift, just like that one.
Yeah, and had that line just right. Could have used just a bit more height, but still very well executed inside circle 1. Gannon also with a bit of an Anheuser release, but a little bit more stability on that disc, and he glides it nicely, and you can't really draw it up much better than that, so let's take a look again.
Yeah, last time AB said I can put it closer. This time it's Gannon. Golf's easy when you don't have to putt.
Alden, a little bit more nose up. Good way to control your distance, and he's put it inside that bullseye as well.
This forehand also can work. I like the way that drifts. Ground does slope towards some out of bounds. However, excellent speed control means AB is actually going to be first out here.
Yeah, I was going to say interesting choice there for Lowry. Excuse me, Lowry, but when you can control it like that, that shows you why he did it. As AB going to have to putt twice here after a bit of a miscue there on the first putt.
And going to erase one of those bogey strokes on the first hole is Lauri Lehtinen. And Alden Harris and Gannon Buhr going to make quick work of their tap-ins.
So we're back to the 215 count on stats. And again, hole 1 had more birdies than hole 2. Brings us into hole 3, 300-foot par 3 with a Mando you have to go left of right there. Once you get through there, you want to push straight and then just slightly fade off to the left. Pretty easy to miss early or push a little bit long and hit those trees before you fade. Pretty touchy shot for a 300 footer.
And well done here by Gannon-Buhr. This is going to go to the left side of the basket, but tagging a tree at about 28 feet. I think the most pure line is a hyzer release with a slightly flippy mid.
This one's pulled off to the right a bit and does get the better kick to the left side rather than out of bounds right. But still going to be in a tricky spot if he slid into that wood line. Oh, no way. Somebody else is taking my line. Comes up just a little bit low right. But very viable play and a great way to avoid that OB. Here's what I saw the first round. If you were watching before and I brought up, there's an over-the-top shot. There you have it.
I guess that's another way to avoid the OB. Just throw right over top of the trees and plinko down. The rare Alden Harris forehand is well executed, as is Lauri Lehtinen's layup. No sense running that.
And AB giving that a pretty valiant bid for quite downhill here with the OB behind the basket. Gobble, gobble for Gannon-Buhr, though, able to start the round off hot. It's good to see.
And Gannon-Buhr, already a major champion. Certainly looking to add a world's title to the several other tournaments he's won this year.
And this hole averaged right at par. Not many birdies between the two different pools. Just 53 players able to get the birdie.
Nice Valley, Montana, with my family. When we were bored, my parents would just be like, go outside. That's where memories are made. It's such a part of childhood that I feel like is being lost today, and I have desperately tried to instill that into my kids.
Hole 4, 630 feet, a par 4. Definitely have to test OB at some point. This OB island, or this inbounds island to the right, is the most common landing zone. And then you throw over another OB patch up to a slightly elevated green. Likely to see 4 backhand flex shots. Either a fairway driver or a distance driver thrown a little slow.
Needs to get down.
Yeah, that stalls on Gannon-Buhr. And he's going to be left about 280 to the green, throwing 3.
Alden correcting on that line. Definitely has enough turnover on this. And it stays short of that bush as well. Going to be in prime position. Maybe 240 in.
One of the big challenges here is that as these trees grow, you have to throw nose up and manage whatever the wind read you get is.
That is such a scary shot that Lowry just threw.
He went with a much more neutral disc, so he got better forward push. And Barela, he's kind of tracking. He got enough forward push as well that this stall isn't going to kill him. He's well in bounds.
Yeah, well in bounds, just a little far back.
Good swing and a rude reaction for Gannon-Buhr.
Yeah, it goes from bullseye to just outside circle 1. Going to have to make a much longer putt here on a green that typically has a good amount of wind.
Barela still with a slow disc, but going to play a little spikier. And 15 feet or so for his birdie attempt. Alden Harris going to play the slightly touchier backhand. But the stability's catching up right on time. He'll take one little skip off the top of the elevated green, also out to 15 feet or so.
I feel like there should be some type of bonus if you're able to land it on some of these little greens that they have. I don't know what. Maybe the spotter gives you a little piece of chocolate or a little piece of candy on the way by.
Next year's sponsor, Nathan's Candy.
And that little rollaway is going to end up costing Gannon, not able to convert on the birdie putt.
And as Nathan noted, the wind's starting to pick up on this green. Perhaps a funny stance up against the rocks for Lehtinen. He's going to have to putt his fourth now.
And a very nice comeback putt after a kind of awkward first attempt. Able to connect for the par. Jonathan Fletcher able to connect for the eagle on this one, throwing it in for the 2.
Pretty great result. And you know that had to come from well over 200 feet.
Yeah, most likely around that bush area.
AB going to match Alden Harris.
And Gannon giving one of those birdie strokes back that he's taken, but you never want to give one back, but luckily you don't. You have 3 already. Moves us into hole 5, 445-foot par 3. Pretty difficult shots. You've got OB down the right side, left side, and long. And if the wind is picked up at this point, it's going to be a headwind with a little bit of left to right. But at the moment, it seems fairly calm.
Yeah, better hustle up and throw. Try to give everybody a chance for that. Alden Harris down into the ditch. That's probably circle 2. We'll see what kind of footing he has and whether he would like to test the uphill putt. Barela inside. Might have gotten a little bit of a crowd razz there. He's going to throw into the middle bushes. Does land safe, which is the preferred miss.
And Lehtinen gets his hyzer out pretty wide. And just a little bit too wide. Ends up catching those trees and going to be OB pretty far back. Oh, and Gannon almost had the line right. Catches those trees. That is a very dirty roll.
Yeah, back-to-back holes with a bizarre reaction. Off the middle trees and then rolling nearly uphill. Lehtinen throwing his third after the OB stroke, and he's going to go double OB.
Oh, man, and that's what this hole 5 can do once you get out early. This green is so hard to place something close.
Barela sprawls out to get a bullseye. He'll take a 3.
So Alden first to throw, closest to the basket. And able to connect with a really clean putt. That came off so smooth.
Yeah, such a good driven spin putt. Very wristy. Creeps over the rim and in for a bird.
Yeah, and just 22% of the field, 48 players out of 215 able to get the birdie on this one the last 2 days. And here's some of that wind I was expecting to see up on the tee pad.
Playing Crossy. That's going to drop this putt. And
Yeah.
covering his mistake a little bit. Another double bogey for Lowry Lehtinen. And I think we missed one of Gannon Buhr's up shots. He's known for being a very deliberate player, but sometimes goes quick when frustrated.
Yeah, and after 3 birdies to start, back-to-back bogeys.
Hole 6, 265 feet, par 3. We said it earlier, one of the easiest holes on tour, even though it is surrounded by out of bounds. Alden Harris is probably the only player on this card looking at a backhand. Everybody else going to chip a forehand, try to make it look like they sawed it off.
But here's the backhand. And perfectly executed. Going to be right there inside bullseye.
Yeah, I like that he started it on Anheuser and let it flex to glide out. Barela, this is a little bit wide, but we'll have the stability to catch up.
Yeah, that's scary once you start coming close to that bush right there. It likes to grab anything that it touches.
And more inside is Gannon Buhr. This will be right side of the basket. And this time a better roll near the bullseye.
And Larry also going with that forehand, but does keep it inside, and he's going to roll up there also inside the bullseye. So Anthony Barela about 19 feet here. Farthest out. Easiest hole on the course.
And he does indeed convert.
80%. 172 players able to get the birdie on this hole on the last 2 days. It did cause just 11 bogeys. That's just 5% of the field and only 15% with a par. And we got those diamonds. Moves us into hole 7. Second most difficult hole on the course today. 1,262 foot, 65 foot par 5. Got the option to go across that original OB creek, or you can lay up and then go to that second bubble before you throw your third shot. There's not too much incentive to go across this first area unless you have the power to reach it in 2. So likely to see 4 layups here just in case unless somebody's really feeling froggy.
And assuming one is playing for the 4, even Anthony Barela with his power going to lay up short. If one is playing for the 4, you can throw the big shot on your second and make it work. If you're going over the creek in 1, you're kind of left with 2 in-between shots.
And you can only push that second shot so far. Gannon Buhr is going to get aggressive, but turns that over well early and never really gave it much of a chance to fly that creek.
No, didn't even make it to the net, so he will be playing from the short side of the creek, throwing 3. Lowry trying to do the same. I like the way this is flying. Does fade in front of the net. And that's gorgeous.
Yeah, incredible aggressive shot there. That's well down the fairway, 500 plus feet, I'd say.
Yeah, I was told he's about 615 to the bucket, so I'm not sure I believe 1265 posted distance. That might be flying a less direct path. Buhr's third, gonna get into the big bubble.
Yeah, that probably leaves him in the 420 range to the pin, so still a pretty good amount of air left to execute.
AB fairway driver. Slight hyzer, flips to flat, and gliding. Since it's a fairway, it's not going to skip aggressively. And he's improved somewhat on Gannon Buhr's lie.
Yeah, going to be a pretty good spot. Should be able to go fairway or less from there as well. This is kind of pushing towards that left side, but is going to find that bubble over there. Got just enough room, and he's got about the same distance that AB got there, I believe. And that you see mid-range here in his hand, so, even after going for that, he's laying up there to 100 feet in front of where everybody else is right now.
Yeah, so he'll have 300 into the green. Like I said, kind of an in-between shot. And with no reference points on the ground, it's really hard to find exactly where you want to land that second shot. Buhr playing overstable and does land in and then skitters out. The spotter was right on top of it, and Buhr very surprised to have gone OB twice on this hole.
Yeah. That late ground play, it does slope a little bit down right to left there, but not a whole lot. You thought with the spike angle that he had that it would have sat down more, but Anthony Barela is also catching that fast little slide, but does end up checking up. Inbound's going to have himself a birdie look.
The consistent downhill means you, I think, have to hang it out much wider than you actually think, as they both were right of the basket and ended up pretty far left. Alden Harris with the correction. He will be taking his birdie putt from not more than 22 feet or so.
Lowry also hanging this out pretty wide and high, has a nice spike angle on it, and he is going to skip up to that box, go ahead and tap it. Got a nice box tapper there.
Our brand new term. One good jump, perfect distance management, and so much less speed coming in than AB or Buhr had.
So Gannon, after 2 OB throws, gonna miss high on that comeback putt. Looking at a bigger number here on hole 7 than you'd like to take.
He's not the only one, though. This is one of the more dangerous holes. It's easy when you play it easy, but they can stack up in a hurry.
Yeah, as I said, second hardest hole on the course, 40% of the field with bogey or above. 13% of that is double bogey. And you've got 3% with the triple bogey or above.
No thanks.
Yeah, tough sledding.
Barela does card his birdie, and Gannon Buhr back to even on the round with a 7.
Yeah, also on one of those no par streaks.
You love to see it and you hate to see it, depending on your perspective.
Yeah, the more birdies, the better when you're talking about no par streaks.
Alden Harris with the conversion, just filling up the scorecard with green at this time.
Yeah, we missed his turkey. He's on through to 4 straight, 5 under par.
At some level, I don't know that hole 6 counts in the turkey stat. All that's doing is keeping up with the field.
Yeah. Very true.
Hole 8, 410 feet, a par 3, playing pretty uphill and then very, very right. There's OB all around the green and fairway, although it is generous. If you are trying to attack, it requires a pretty specific angle to glide that far right without cut rolling or stalling. Alden Harris with that big backhand, kind of anti-spike. He looked to me like he landed out of bounds and then cut rolled back in. And that's where totally adequate shots go to die. AB with the same fairway driver we've been seeing. Tracking right.
It's going to end up stalling out, though. Catches a couple of air bounces on the flight, stalls out and ends up out of bounds. Outside circle, too, so he's got a long way to go trying to save that par. Lowry gets this nice high and turned over. Beautiful shot. One of the better ones you're going to see here on hole 8.
No doubt. And the players who are hitting this shot are just waiting in suspense for seconds until they can get the relay of flags from the spotters. Gannon Buhr has thrown this too well.
What? That is... I don't... Wow.
Yeah, he's not just... Wow. As Alden Harris tries to ring it up from deep, Gannon didn't just throw OB. He threw like 40 feet long of the basket and then 40 more feet OB.
Yeah, that was a good good frustration rip there on that tee. And is able to come back for the par, along with 68% of the field taking a par on this hole over the last couple days. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that was the only one like that.
Even with 215 people, I think that's a safe bet, Nathan.
Anthony Barela is able to collect his 4 after going OB on the tee shot. And Lehtinen here, a chance for a rare birdie.
And is going to do it.
Gobble, gobble.
And continues his uphill fight back to even also.
Yeah, with 2 double bogeys. He's worked his way back to even. Good work. Alden Harris able to collect one of the common pars. Moves us into hole 9, 480 foot. Par 3, downhill, OB all the way down the right side and left side. Wraps around long as well. Likely a ripping headwind or nothing.
This isn't the wind I played this hole in. And Lowry tracking the right side. The stability's going to catch up just in time. And up there near circle's edge.
Yeah, this is a tough hole to execute properly with all the OB without wind. However, it is much more doable. With the headwind here, this hole becomes just a completely different shot.
Harris swings the hyzer with the neutral disc pretty low. He might try to attack that with a nose-up run.
Yeah, like both of those shots are playing safe while the wind is down, which is very viable to do. Once the wind is up, that playing safe becomes a lot tougher. And things like that also don't happen because that wind's just going to blow it on out. But all 3 inbounds so far.
Buhr with a really great shape. Fortunate to come back inbounds, but had exactly the right idea. AB, this isn't quite right enough of the basket to pin it, but will be out there as well by Lowry Lehtinen.
This looks like a pretty aggressive stare down from Gannon. This gets away quickly, so very good miss, I'll say there.
And when you roll behind that, you wish you were a little more cowardly instead of bolder.
Oh boy.
I'll sit out the rest of the hole. Sorry. AB, lots of chains.
Man.
But flops out left side.
It did hit a little bit left, but I'd like to see that one stay. That was a pretty good putt. And Lowry just doesn't quite commit to that one.
Yeah, after a couple confident putts, and a slack wind, it's odd to see that kind of wounded duck putt. So he's going to close out his front 9 at even.
Yeah, and this did play as the 4th hardest hole on the course. 38% of the field carding a bogey or above. And just 23% able to get the birdie. No birdies on our card here today, but everybody has fought their way to even or better through this front 9.
Not exactly what a couple guys were looking for, but still keeping them in the hunt for good positions. Anthony Barela up to T2 now, as is Alden Harris. Got to make a move on this back 9. We'll continue on the Fox Run course. Isaac Robinson capping the field by a couple strokes at this time, but still with 27 holes to go and a variety of holes, variety of scoring conditions, everyone in that leaderboard still in the ball game.
Yeah, lots of attackable holes on this back 9 to finish out this 4th round strong and make that push towards the World Championship. Thank you guys for tuning in. For Andrew Fish, I'm Nathan Queen. We'll see you guys out there.